My guy, Bijan.
Bijan.
Bijan Robinson. Free Bijan, man. Free Bijan. Like let him go. Let him go. Because Bijan at this point, bro, and let me tell you something. Full disclosure here. Because I know Arthur Smith doesn't care about my fantasy team. I know he doesn't. And I get it. I don't necessarily want you to care about my fantasy team, but I want you to
Mhm.
care about the team in general. And
The
when you look
team.
at Bijan here at 103 rushing attempts, uh, 517 yards, and this is going into week 10. We're recording this prior to week 10, so this is going into week 10.
Mhm.
517 on the yards, 5 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown. Okay. And that's the part I hate. We drafted a guy eighth to give him 103 attempts through 9 games. So let's go to Tyler Algier here. Let me go here to this. Let's go to Tyler. And Tyler, and let's go full screen for the people here so they can see this. So we'll go back to Bijan real quick.
Mhm.
Show you Bijan stats here. 9 games, 103, 517. And let's go down here a little bit. When you look through his games, the highest amount, he had 19 attempts in one game, and he got 124 yards. Why are we not handing the guy the ball? Why are we not handing the guy the ball, man? Let's go to Tyler. Now, Tyler Algier, I like having a
Love me some Tyler Algier.
two-headed situation, man, because Tyler is a great running back. He got over 1,000 yards for us last year. Through this year, he's got 116 rushing attempts, more rushes than Bijan, and this may just be due to the fact that we didn't give Bijan the ball at all during the headache game, which is controversial down here. We ran in for about 3 or 4 plays there. But 116 rushes for Tyler. 371 yards total and about 3.2 yards per attempt, and has three times the rushing touchdowns that Bijan gets. That's probably because Bijan's running on and off the field every other play. I'm not bitter about that though, man. Let's go to Kyle Pitts here. Now, Kyle Pitts, this is interesting, right? Because Kyle comes into the league and he wasn't like a touchdown scoring machine, but he was getting a lot of yards when he first came into the league. He got over 1,000 in that rookie campaign. This year he's 9 games in. And let's see. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This is his third year. 2021 was the year. Let's scroll down here and look at a couple things. Get rid of these adverts. Let's so 2021, he had 1,000 yards, 68 receptions. Took a step back, 356 yards, but he
Well,
started seven
injury
less
last year.
games.
Yeah, injury last year.
7 less games for that. So through 9 games this year, he has 389 yards on 32 receptions. Now, this is not exactly setting the world on fire here, man. Let's look at his per game here. Let's go look at the games. 5 targets. So he had 1 game with double-digit targets. 1 game.
Right.
His next largest game is 9 targets. The guy is just not being utilized, in my opinion. Multiple games where he's under even 6 targets, right? Under 6 targets for multiple games. So I don't know, man. I don't know about that. It's I don't want to say the jury's still out because there are skill players I really believe in them, and I don't think the jury's out. It's when you're a fan, it's not like I don't recognize how unreasonable fans can be, right? We can
Right.
be unreasonable. Fans can be unreasonable. We can ask for all kinds of stuff. Let's go look at Drake London here real
Yeah,
quick.
look
We
at
can ask
Drake
for all
London.
kinds of
That's
stuff.
then you get
Drake's
there's
got
your one.
438 yards, 37 receptions, 2 touchdowns this year. So you have Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson with 4 touchdowns total.
Mhm.
All drafted in the top 10, I want to say.
All drafted. Yes.
Let's look here. 1 game, just like Pitts, 1 game of double digit, and he had 125 yards that game. Like the games where these guys are being utilized, they're making a difference, right? And as much as I
Yes.
love Tyler, Tyler wasn't drafted 8th overall.
No.
We drafted and it's no knock on Tyler because if we had not drafted Bijan, like why draft the guy? Why draft the guy at all? We didn't need to
Right.
draft him, and
No.
if we're not going to use him, And that's the biggest situation. That's the biggest problem I have is why did we even get the guy? Like if we weren't going to use him, or if we decided, hey, we just want to go with other players, we want to give other players a shot, I'm fine with that. Eugene, like, does that make sense?
Yeah, right. It would if Algier was just killing it. Like if Algier was just carrying the rock for like 5-6 yards of carry, then you're gonna be like fine, and you could justify that. But he's not. Kyle Pitts, it's like he's there, and then you want to. It's just so frustrating watching this team day in and day out on Sunday.
Do you think at some point here it's going to be time for a change, and when does that point come? Because I'm not, as much as I do want to get on Arthur Smith, when you're watching your tight end run onto the field and watching Bijan run off, and your backup tight end is running onto the field,
doing
get
a
that
jet sweep.
touchdown.
Jet sweep,
Yeah,
by the way.
yeah. That's what we're running with our backup tight end, who's been like the star of the show, man. Like let's shout out to Jonnu Smith, by the way, like who's really kind of showed
good.
up here. He's
been great.
We might as well have drafted him, and at this point, right? Because Jonnu Smith seems to be the star of the team right now. I don't know how that happened though.
I don't either. So I was thinking about this today, and this is my great analogy for the Falcons. Is I was thinking about what does the Falcons remind me? The Falcons remind me of all 4 of the Matrix movies. It's like when you watch the Matrix, the first Matrix movie, you're like, oh my god, this is awesome, right? This is great. The second one comes out, so you're in your second quarter of watching the Falcons. It's like, okay, that was all right, and you're like, okay, yeah, maybe the third one will be better. We're going third quarter, right? Then you're like, oh, this was not good. And then you wait 20 years for the fourth one to come out, and I think this is where your Algier comment comes in. It's like, wait a minute, we're gonna have that guy play Mr. Smith. Lawrence Fishburne couldn't be involved in this movie. We couldn't throw money at him. Oh, we're gonna put Algier in. We're gonna put the backup tight end. So that's what it feels like when I'm watching the Falcons. It's like it progressively gets worse through quarters. Like the first quarter, like I'm in. Same for the first Matrix movie. It was like in. The second one's like, okay, I'm still in, but what changed? Why didn't we do some things in the first quarter? Then we go to halftime and come out and it's like we completely abandon what we're not doing like those changes at halftime. We're not recognizing those changes, and you make up a great point. Is that a coaching thing? Because we see great coaches that do that, right? Who go, okay, first quarter we're great, second quarter we limp along, but we get to halftime. Then okay, halftime we need to make those changes, and that's the thing that frustrates me with the Falcons is like, I don't think we're making those changes at halftime. We're not making those commitments to different things to try something else. It's like, okay, we fooled you with the backup tight end in that second and the third quarter, but now it's time the third and fourth quarter. We need to bring the stars in. We need to bring Bijan in. We need to bring Kyle Pitts in. That's the time you bring in those stars. Like you can get away with the Algiers, your backup tight end, those first 10 quarters, but third and fourth quarter, that's your superstar quarters, right? That's where you want your stars to be to win the ball game for you. Right? I mean, right? I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me wrong, but that's where I think those where you want to see those guys, and that's why you draft them high to come in those quarters and be those stars at those points, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that's the biggest issue that I have with this whole situation here is that why draft the guys at all? Like, what's the point in drafting a guy altogether if you're just not going to use them? If you're just not going to hand the ball off to him? If you're just going to and there's something to be said too for getting kind of warmed up in the game to a certain degree, right? Like this guy's going out there for 12, 13 times a game, 14 times a game. Maybe he gets the rock. Now and I understand there's no such thing as kind of like the bell cow running back. There aren't really a lot of those in the leagues anymore. There's a lot of running back by committees. But what's wrong with giving the guy 20 touches? You know, run out
Right.
Jair out there 10, 11 times.